So a conference like this could not have come at a better time because it's becoming more and more obvious, more than ever before, that future economies will be pivoting on, or at least be largely driven by the digital sectors. So in this context, it becomes very important to ensure that the demographic advantage that we have in terms of young people are channelized towards this sector to benefit the nation. So I think with that, we'll dive right into the questions. Updating oneself from time to time is the key. Doctors do continuing medical education, and others, upgrade themselves with PhDs or higher education. So technology is probably one sector that's constantly mutating, pretty much on a day-to-day basis. So as far as VIT goes, what would be a toolkit to ensure that the students keep up with the developments?
Good morning, Ms. Ramya. It's a pleasure to be here. So, if you ask it as a toolkit, there's no one single thing which we do. For the students to keep abreast, we need the faculty to be up to date with the technology. And of course, it's more ever-changing than the medical education you referred to. So what we do is we have something called as a TLC, Teaching Learning Center for Excellence, and Faculty Development Centers. They constantly conduct knowledge sessions. For example, recently we had sessions on agentic AI. The industry experts came and taught some of the junior faculty on agentic AI, whether it's quantum computing or quantum cryptography, AI in solar energy. So there are various topics which our TLC covers. Apart from that, we constantly encourage our faculty to attend the reputed national and international conferences, seminars, and workshops. We have a lot of sponsorships for the faculty to do that. We have a program called VIN, VIT International Program, where we sponsor our faculty to go and stay in some of the foreign universities. When I say foreign, I'm referring to some of the developed countries like US, UK, and get embedded in their system and gain knowledge. And we also do a lot of industry academia conclaves in the campus, where we invite the industries and we share our knowledge, both the industries and academia. That helps us to be abreast and sometimes be ahead of the industry also. So these are some of the techniques we follow.
Right. So the one thing that is common today is, you can somehow find funding, you can find infrastructure, you can build infrastructure, you can get students. But faculty is something, I'm so glad you brought up faculty in the initial question, because hiring quality people who are up to date, who are capable of teaching is a special skill, as you know. So honestly, what are the troubles you face? Are there troubles you face in hiring good faculty members and also retaining them?
Yeah, it's a million-dollar question, I guess. So one of the biggest problems faced by education institutions like ours, where we look for the best of the faculty, is there's a huge shortage of well-qualified, great faculty. So we do multiple strategies. Of course, one is we build a good pipeline. So we have good PhD programs and postdoctoral fellowships in our own universities, where there is homegrown talent coming up. But apart from that, we go out of the way to attract best of the faculty, providing good competitive salary packages. And more than salary packages for intellectuals, it's a kind of work atmosphere you provide, kind of academic culture, kind of research culture you provide in an institution, which becomes important. For example, if I want to invite great faculty to come and join, I need to provide them the research facilities, research scholars, and time to do research, and seed grants. So these are all the factors which attract outstanding professor to come and join. Not just join, we need to retain them. So we need to have a great atmosphere where there is a collegial atmosphere where they can interact with each other, and they also need to feel that their colleagues are of similar intelligentsia, that level. So those are some of the factors we make sure the ecosystem is good for them to continue to work at VIT.
So the way I understand it, you do, absorb your own students into the teaching program, is it?
Yes,
that also happens.
yes. So what we do is, we, after their PhD program, we actually want them to get some external experience also. We send them for postdoctoral fellowships for some of the in the developed universities and absorb them. Or sometimes we absorb them and then send them abroad for such training programs. So that, quote unquote, there is no inbreeding. They want to have some external experience also.
Right, that's very interesting. So moving on to another subject. Now the whole, we're moving into specializations and super specializations, from generative to agentic AI. What are the tech support related fields that you are looking at? Because there's a huge impact on agriculture, using AI or IoT in fields that are not only tech-based,
right,
outside of technology.
So, at VIT, even though we are well known for engineering, we are offering, law program, agriculture program, architecture program, hotel management, etc. But since we have a very strong technology background, our other schools, non-engineering schools, also get the advantage of technology. For example, our law school students get to know more about cybersecurity law, the IPR, how to use AI in the law field. If you look at our agri school, they look at smart farming, using drone technology in agriculture and remote sensing, and even in other fields like architecture. So we make sure AI is used in every subject. So AI becomes the common denominator for everybody. So the concerned domain, you learn the expertise, and you also learn how to apply in that expertise area. So that's our mantra, to make sure technology is integrated into all the fields, not just in engineering.
So you have a very robust interdisciplinary tech support program here.
Yeah. So if you look at our curriculum, we originally started off with fully flexible credit system, what we call as FFCS, and then we upgraded to what we call as curriculum for applied learning. And now we have introduced adaptive curriculum for excellence. We call it ACE curriculum. What it means is that anybody can study anything else also. You join as a civil engineer, you get a minor with AI. Or you join as a mechanical engineer, you can get a minor with marketing. So all sorts of possibilities become easier. You can do specializations. If you take, for example, computer science, you can specialize in IoT. So we allow all combinations, and we allow program migration, because at the age of 17 or 18, they may not have chosen the right branch, but we allow program migration. So once we allow all these flexibilities, it becomes easier for the student, and when they come out with interdisciplinary, multidisciplinary schools, their employability also goes up. So that's the reason we keep the curriculum as flexible as possible.
Okay, that seems like a good place to study at. I'm going to pick up on something Dr. Viswanathan spoke, during the inaugural. He said India is a country of great inequalities, which is true. We see it on a day-to-day basis. And if you talk about the digital divide per se, maybe access to technology or maybe a simple mobile phone has improved quite significantly over the years. But I think that's where it stops. The access to technology for the vast majority of our population is still poor. I'm sure you'll agree with that. And in terms of students accessing education, tech education also, there are several limitations. So is there something that you do with your wisdom of this? Is there something that you plan in order to bring in more students in, to keep it equitable and make it accessible to as many students as is willing to take up the course?
Right. So for our in-campus students, obviously technology access is not a problem, but we have also started online degree programs. We are offering MBA, MCA, and MSc Data Science, and that gives access to education, VIT's faculty especially, remotely wherever they are in the world. They are able to enroll and complete the degree. There is FaceTime also, meaning synchronous education, and then there is asynchronous education. So in general, I feel that India has made a lot of progress in providing access, because for example, I appreciate many of the governments giving free laptops to students. It's a great boon to students who do not have access to equipment. And I also appreciate the union government policy of reducing the cost of bandwidth. India is one of the least expensive sources for bandwidth. So, but there are still many remote areas where kids don't have access to the net. So I'm sure, especially with the satellite linking possibilities, government will make sure every village, every remote hills have access to the net and with some device. So I think it's more a government policy, but from VIT, we are using this online education and taking the step forward there.
Right, so the Tamil Nadu government does have this, it distributes free laptops to students, if I'm not mistaken, above the first year, second year plus. And of course, as you said, the internet charges are among the cheapest in the world. So yeah, these are all drivers. I think, governments also realize the significance of the digital economy. So while we talk about how governments are enabling us, there's also the question of regulatory hurdles, whether it is at the central level or at the state level. Procedural hurdles and delays, red tapeism, and sometimes corruption also can derail the process, can delay the process that universities have to go through. Are there any measures that you would suggest to make this more accessible, to make this more free? I mean, keeping it within a set of controls, of course, and to make sure it operates within the system. Are there suggestions you will give to open up higher education?
So I think like our Chancellor pointed out, the first thing which the governments, both the state government and the union government, needs to do is increase the funding for education. Make it up to 6% of GDP, as has been proclaimed in the NEP. So we are in the 3 to 4% range now. Maybe we cannot do it in 1 year, but every year the percentage needs to go up till we reach 6%. The main problem which many of the students face in the country is that they cannot afford higher education. And private institutions can extend the subsidy only to a certain extent, but it becomes a burden on the rest of the students also. So if more scholarships are being given by the government, I'm sure equity and access becomes better. I'll give you one example. I'm talking about the highest form of education, which is Ph.D. Fellowship. Government has, for example, PM Research Fellowship, PMRF. That doesn't reach any of the private institutions. The amount stops with the top government institutions and at least some government institutions. But whereas in VIT, we pay our own fellowship. In Vellore campus alone, we are paying fellowship of about 35 to 50,000 a month for 4,500 scholars. Imagine if government were to fund these scholars. It would help us to increase our research facilities and increase the number of research scholars. So funding is one area where government needs to increase both state and center. The other area is, in general, having a liberal approach for allowing institutions to open more campuses, or people wanting to start new institutions. The red tape needs to decrease. It needs to be a single window clearance with a time frame, and increasing the intake of existing branches, approvals. So there are a lot of bureaucracy still exists in this field of education, the regulated field. It needs to be a bit more deregulated sector, and market will decide who's good and who's bad. It will happen.
Right. So there's been a lot recently. The central government has freed up the regulative atmosphere for clinical trials, which is also a big area that the country will bank on. So I suppose biotech is next. So that in the last decade or so, the buzzwords, at least in academic circles, have been hackathons, mentorship, and several such niche issues that students are encouraged to join. So what is the relevance of these smaller events, because as children, people talk about the Olympiads, like encourage children to take up the Olympiads. But do these hackathons and these, smaller events to encourage students actually help in the larger picture? A number of innovations at these hackathons, do they see the light of day for broader and larger societal implementation?
Yeah, what you are asking is an important point. So I'll take VIT as the case. So we conduct plenty of hackathons. In fact, we have introduced a program where hackathon has become an assessment tool. We call it the winner program, VIT, Innovation in Education and Research. So students, as part of their coursework, take problems from the industry. So we have asked our industry partners to give some problem statements. So they take it as a part of their curriculum and form teams and sit continuously for like 24 hours to 48 hours, sit and solve the problem. So this helps them, and that hackathon is being judged by industry partners. So they come and say, okay, this idea is the best, this is second best, third best, etc. So it creates a connectivity between industry and students, and you will notice that because of this, the entrepreneurship is growing. In VIT, we have a TBI, Technology Business Incubator, so we have produced hundreds of startups from VIT, which has employed thousands of people. So it has a butterfly effect, multiplier effect. It starts in the classroom, has a hackathon, the innovation continues. We at VIT provide 5 lakhs seed grant for student startups and faculty startups. And we are also giving product development fee of 50,000 rupees. And we increase the funding up to 15 lakhs. And so far we have given about 6.5 crores as student grants. But they also get government funding, about 8.5 crores. And of course, once they go out, they get venture capital funding, about 83 crores so far about the recent startups. So if you look at it, what starts as a simple problem solving in the class can lead to development of the economy because of entrepreneurship and better employment. And India is very good in promoting startups. So we are benefiting because of the startup culture in India.
Right, so you do believe that there is a very thriving and flourishing domestic innovation industry, at least in the tech sector?
Yes, yes. So I'll give a couple of examples. There's one Inside FPV, that's the name of the company our students floated. It's a drone company. And this startup has received funding from Government of India Defense Department of 1.5 crores because their drone is going to be used in military applications by Government of India, the Indian Navy personnel. There is a space tech company, Ocula space tech company. There are biotech companies coming out of VIT. So all this eventually leads to betterment of the society, whether it's government or general public.
Right. So this is a question that I'm asking on behalf of students and their parents perhaps. Anyone entering the professional courses, professional education industry is looking to the pot of gold at the end of the rainbow, which is a job. Will I be employable at the end of my 3 years, 4 years, 5 years, whatever it is? So, have the job prospects improved over the years for students who, pass out with technology degrees, whether it's AI or any of the older ECE sort of subjects? And do you see a tilt towards, at one point, computer science was the big thing. Everyone would do at least a diploma in computer science in order to make it. So what are the trends today? What are the job prospects for students who pass out?
Right. So, of course, all roads lead to Rome. Everybody wants to study computer science. What we have done at VIT is made sure, regardless of which program you join, you can study computer science. That was, originally we started off with programming, now AI. So regardless of which branch you study, AI becomes a core subject. And coming to employability, so we are in close touch with industry. They are part of our advisory boards, academic council, and whenever we update the curriculum, we get feedback from them. So we give what they want. We don't impose what we produce. So this close connection with the industry helps the students get jobs. And these days, internship becomes the important part. No employer wants to just like that hire somebody. They want to test them and then hire. So getting an internship in the last semester or even pre-final semester, which can lead to full-time employment, has become the norm of the day, especially by the GCCs. But the Indian IT services company, they do the mass hiring at VIT where thousands of offers are being made. VIT is one of the leaders in that. So what we find is, if we closely align with the industry when it's coming to design of curriculum, and some of the modules of the curriculum is being taught by our industry partners. So we call it professors of practice, POP, and adjunct faculty. So those factors and those hackathons and other problem statements in the class, these help students connect with the industry. So they continuously are in touch with reality and the internships. And we also provide soft skills, which is the industry's need. You cannot be just a tech guy. You need to be able to communicate, work as a team, show leadership skills. You need to be able to talk to your customers. So all these soft skills also help them in getting a good placement. So we find that actually every year the number of companies visiting VIT is phenomenal. It's like in thousands. And the job offers are also going up. Even though the general industry trend is not that great, but when the going gets tough, the tough gets going.
Right. So you've actually answered my next question, which is on academia and industry tie-up. If you could just talk in general, just a few sentences on why is this academia industry tie-up very important for particularly the engineering education sector?
So one we have already touched upon, employment. The other is co-creation of technology. So we have some of the faculty members who have patented their work in collaboration with their industry. So the patent is jointly owned by VIT and the industry, and they get to commercially exploit that patent, and we get a royalty. So that kind of industry consultancy and intellectual property becomes an important component in our growth, where new technologies can emerge in partnership with the industry. And in general, we also want to push forward with general consultancy projects from the industry. And we are also providing short-term certificate programs for industry personnel and degree programs also. We go to their campus, they come to our campus. So we are offering BTech, MTech, and Ph.D. programs also for the industry personnel. So these are the different facets of the relationship between industry and VIT.
Right, so that's quite comprehensive. So we started with mutability and how things change constantly, and so perhaps it would be appropriate for us to end with a similar sort of subject. Given how fast technology is evolving, is there something, one thing, or a couple of things that you will do to take VIT, or do you think that engineering institutions to take their institutions on the path towards the future? Are there one or two innovations that you will doggedly pursue?
I think the biggest innovation we have started pursuing is integrating AI into education. So what our ultimate goal is going to be is personalized learning. Right now, if you look at a class which is heterogeneous, there are some students who are fast and there are some students who are slow. We need to make sure the instruction or the class is available for each and everybody individually. So I think AI is going to play a big role in the personalized learning concept, which we will introduce in VIT. We have already started working on it. We will be introducing personalized learning eventually.
Right. I think our time's up. So thank you so much, Dr. Sekar. It's always a pleasure speaking to you, and all the more so today. We've learned a lot about not only how VIT is approaching the future or the present, but also of a path forward for other similar education institutions. Thank you so much.
Thank you. It was my pleasure.
Good morning, and it was a good initiative from both the VIT, the Hindu and all. I am Arun Kumar from Discover Talent. It's a startup company. As it is from classroom to cosmos, there is a statistics that the freshers getting jobs, switching jobs within a shorter period of time what the industry faces. What's the mechanism that is being adopted so that they don't switch jobs? Because I'm focusing on that particular area as a startup.
Yeah, I think once they graduate and join, the key thing they are looking for is whether it is intellectually simulating them. So I think the initial thing is the fit between the employer and the employee. What is the expectation of the employee when they join the organization, and whether we are able to fulfill that kind of a need. So I feel that I know it's not easy. If there is a challenging assignment to that student when they come and join, I'm sure they will stick on better, but it's not always possible to provide challenging assignments. So it's a matter of expectation management, I feel.
Actually, we have a solution, because added to that, switching jobs alone is not the one particular aspect. The other aspect is the family happiness, the individual continues with the family, because we see a lot of diverse cases because of the work culture, all the stuff. Both can be addressed in one particular method what we have started up. That's what I want to express, and if VIT is interested, we can able to collaborate with that. Thank you.
Thank you. I think there's one back there.
So you mentioned that you get a lot of industrial consultancy and sponsored research. I've been thinking, is it possible to run an institute entirely using industrial consultancy and sponsored research?
Not entirely. Actually, the amount of industry projects we get and the revenue we get from consultancy is very small. But we eventually, perhaps, but not at this point of time, because I feel that the Indian industry also has not matured to the extent of collaborating so much with the academia, and academia was also not matured. So I think it will take some more years for us to reach a significant level of income coming through industry. Not yet.
Can someone, sorry, are you done?
No, I just wanted a follow-up. So can students then take it up on their own hands? Like if 100 students pool in 20 lakhs each, that's already a corpus of 20 crores, and they can create impactful startups. So is there like new models of education where students pull in money, work on a startup, and instead of graduating with a degree, they graduate with a startup, let's say?
Yeah. So for example, at VIT, we strongly encourage startups, so students can take a break also for a semester or a year, go try a startup and then come back. All those are great possibilities. Yes, is the answer. Thank you.
Can someone bring a mic to Mr. Ram, please, right in front?
The question is about resilience, the dictionary meaning of which is the capacity to withstand and to recover from difficulties, crises, etc. And what comes to mind is the COVID-19 pandemic. So how did your institution, Vellore Institute of Technology, respond to the crisis, the mass crisis that was the pandemic? Because we heard that in many other institutions, the students actually lost, particularly in schools, but also in colleges, lost a whole year or two. For example, in poor families, they may have one or two mobile phones, and all the learning, although data may have been affordable, the device was not available for this, and it was so small. So, so apart from your own, how you dealt with it, if you have any other remarks on observations on how others did, that would be useful.
Thank you, sir. So what VIT did was immediately switch to online education. It was a live online education rather than recorded ones. And fortunately for us, most of the students were having access to a device and the network, but there were a few students who did not. So we were able to arrange some devices for them. And for some specific students, a very handful of students who could not even have access to the network, we brought them to the campus, kept them isolated, and make sure they could learn from the campus without spreading the virus. So we were fortunate enough that there was continuity, business continuity. In spite of COVID, and all the faculty members, they were able to take classes online, and many of the difficulty we faced was with the hands-on labs. With the software labs, it was easy, computer-based labs. But when it comes to physical machines like mechanical labs, etc., but later we made them come to the lab once the lockdown was open, and then they came and physically did the experiments and learned it. So we made sure nobody lost time because of COVID. Thank you, sir.
Yes, please.
My name is Ganesh Kumar, and I straddle two worlds. One is manufacturing as well as IT. What we find when we get a lot of, and this is not a commentary on VIT per se, but a lot of the engineers, and I would say so-called engineers who apply to us, often don't even know 7th or 8th grade math problems. They can't even solve ratio and proportion problems. So, and when Dr. Viswanathan was talking about increasing the enrollment ratio to, or up close to doubling it, I was really thinking that perhaps we should give a lot of thought to depth, because it's really not how much you know, because today we can get the information that we need, but being able to think and analyze and be able to apply what we really learn. So your thoughts on that would...
Yeah. So it's always a challenge. When we want to increase quality, the quality might suffer. So that's why we need to make sure, without compromising on the quality, we need to continuously increase the quantity, because as a country, we need more people to get educated. At the same time, we want them to provide good education, quality education. So this is the overall concept. But I think the key is faculty training. Whether it's the school level teachers or the higher education, if we can make sure our faculty and teachers are having good fundamentals, then automatically the knowledge gets transmitted to the students and it happens better. So I feel that even in the school education, we need to make sure the training programs are effective. There are some training programs, but sometimes it's not effective. Faculty training becomes the key in making sure the quality of education doesn't go down when we increase the quantity. I think that's my answer to your questions.